There's a great joke. Why can the pony not do karaoke? Because he's a little horse. Well, I'm a little horse today. We've had a big weekend. There's been a lot of netball going on. We've got so much to talk about. You're on No Dribble. Strap in. Welcome to No Dribble, the podcast where we talk about netball, but we talk about so much more. My name's Carolyn Swindell.
I am Kath Cox and I'm a big horse.
I am Liz Ellis and I am not a thoroughbred.
And we are all in different parts of the world again. Kath, you're at home in Sydney.
I am. So everybody knows we normally record on a Monday. It's actually Sunday because we're so excited about the weekend. We wanted to talk about it a day early. So yes, I've just flown back today and had all the baroccas and things this morning.
And Liz, you're at home and I'm still in the world's darkest hotel room in Melbourne. It's so Melbourne. There's been a hair on my chin for days. I can't find it because the fucking hotel is way too dark for me.
You're quite enjoying the dark hotel though on a day like today, aren't you? Because you're a little bit Dusty Springfield, aren't you?
Little bit Dusty Springfield today. I've enjoyed the end of the Super Netball season very much. So,
should we just tell everybody how Carolyn explained her weekend to us, Liz? I've had the best fucking weekend. So there's some stories in there somewhere.
It's so fun. I've got my hat on. It was a great grand final. It was a better grand final if you're a Thunderbirds fan than if you're a Vixens fan. But it's the best grand final is if you don't have a team and you just love netball. And you have Nikki Conway-Buckley next to you who thinks it's my job to make sure Carolyn never runs out of Chardonnay. She's been treating me like I am a professional Chardonnay drinker and she is part of my coaching team and that she has to keep this up. And I'm not. Let me explain to you. I'm an enthusiastic amateur when it comes to Chardonnay, but I have had a coaching team around me all weekend.
I feel like if you put it into maybe some cycling parlance, like one of the things I like about cycling the Tour de France is the identification of the domestiques, and their job is to get the superstar riders to where they need to be at the right time. And I feel like you have a team of domestics who go, we've got to get Carolyn as drunk as we can at the right time, and off we go.
It does explain a little something that I saw on Facebook, which we'll get to a bit later, but you look very enthusiastic. Let's just say that.
It was so fun. It's been a great weekend. Still going. Anyway, I'm in Melbourne now. But we started on Friday night.
Yeah, that was great.
Good. I was buzzing. I met Gordy in the foyer of the hotel at 3:45 so we could come down and help you pack, set up and stuff. And we were both just buzzing because we knew it was going to be a great room full of people that were super excited to be in Melbourne and to be there for the game and stuff. And weren't they? As soon as they walked in the door.
Everyone was absolutely prime. And we're at the Quarter House, which is down, they said the address is Docklands, but it's not really Docklands.
It's not really, it's Collins Street, isn't it?
Yeah, it's at bottom end of Collins Street opposite is it called Southern Cross Station? I still call it Spencer Street because I lived here in the 90s, but I think it's called Southern Cross Station now. Right opposite there, fantastic venue. I cannot thank the team there enough for what an amazing job that they did. So, but yeah, Friday night, I flew from Sydney to Melbourne. There were a lot of flight delays, 39 kilos of luggage, and I dragged all of this stuff up to the hotel. My mate's flight, one of my best friends, Lee from Canberra, was coming down to spend the weekend with me. Her flight ended up being cancelled, and she was one of my roadies. So I had to get all of this stuff to the to the venue by myself. And meanwhile, I'm on the tram. I'm sweaty. I have got no makeup on. It's dripping off me. Well, I had to get it. Well, it was like I'm in the city, so it's not far enough for a taxi really. And it was like I was going to have to walk to get a taxi. But I thought if I can get to Collins Street, then I'm straight on. But then I see photos of Liz Ellis looking like a supermodel because she's been on TV that morning, and so had all of the you had some magical assistants there. Obviously, they've got good raw material to work with.
I had an hour of scaffolding. I don't wake up looking like that. I mean, anyone who watches this podcast knows that this is what I look like.
But then I see Catherine goes, I was able to just do carry-on luggage for my flight. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah, I was until I had to leg it because they called me for the flight. I was anyway, long story short, I ended up having to call me over the PA, so I had to leg it to the plane with my carry-on. But by the time I got there, because all the flights around me had been cancelled, ours was chockers. There was no room for my carry-on. And so I had to check the thing in. So it was such a balls up. But that was a fail.
But at least they got it on, right?
They did.
There were a
thank
number of
goodness.
people who didn't make it, which was really sad. We had some friends from Maitland. I'm sorry I've forgotten their names, but I do know that they're from the Maitland Meerkats who have just won something at senior state titles, and they had excellent little meerkat tattoos.
I've got a photo of one on my phone.
Go the Maitland Meerkats.
I took a photo of that particular tattoo.
Oh, did you? What might you do with that particular photo?
Well, because we were chatting about people getting winning premierships and getting tattoos, remember? And no one had said that they had got one. And I know it wasn't the a full big Bulldogs logo or whatever it was. But I thought, finally, we've got one. I'll take a photo of that and I'll show the gals.
Yeah, nice. That was cool.
Well, you, Liz, had to do a meerkat reenactment for them for their club. So
and I got critiqued. It was you that critiqued me. You told me I look sort of not quite good enough. I had to be a bit more.
You were too pouncy. You need to keep your port. Look, you might know you can give me feedback on how to do a giraffe impersonation, but meerkats, that's probably my spirit animal.
I love meerkats. They're the best.
Anyway, how good was the night? My fave thing of the whole night, if we had to pick one, was Patrick the Mop Man making a little cameo. And then you had been behind the scenes with Gordy learning the routine, unbeknownst to us. I thought that you would know what it was because you two had, been in cahoots. But when Gordy started doing it, I was like, hang on a minute. What is going on here? Does she just
Am I meant to know that? And you got up and danced. I love that, Catherine. I didn't know that until I saw videos afterwards. But yeah, thank you to Patrick. And this is for those who were there in the room on Friday night. And there's some video, not a lot around, because we do ask people who come to the events, can we not video it? Because we really don't want what Liz Ellis and Kath Cox might say on this panel going out into the whole wide world. But there was a lot of video
us we
of
needed
that.
to worry about. Jesus.
Gordy got a bit loose. But so we had, and this is the one thing as a Swifts fan, obviously we haven't had to worry about being in a grand final now for a couple of years. But the one thing that Swifts fans know that we are the absolute premiers in is our mop man. Everybody wants Patrick the mop man. So he got up, he did a dance for us to Proud Mary. He'd sent it through. So I sent it through to Gordy and said, what about we just learn this and we're our backup dancers? So he was our Beyonce.
So when he came up, I thought, okay, he will do something cool and dancey. And then when you guys started and you stood next to him, I thought, well, this makes sense because obviously you and him had organised something. Like Kath said, when Gordy jumped up, for the first 10 seconds, I was like, gosh, she's following this really well. She's a freak, right? And then it clicked. I was like, oh my God, Elizabeth, you're an idiot. So then, and I was laughing because remember when we did the Centurions, Kath, Gordy made us do some dancing. And like you got up and danced and you actually did a good job. There was a reason why I sat there and clapped, right? I am the biggest, whitest girl on the planet with two left feet when it comes to dancing. And years ago, Plum used to, remember before like the 2007 World Cup, she got this woman in who was a great dancer and to sort of teach us a bit of hip hop dancing. She wanted us to like mix up our warm-ups and I just had a face like a stone. I was like, I am not dancing because I just can't. And I was just laughing at that, thinking about when Gordy made us dance for the Centurions and we had to learn some dance. And her mum.
She made us have lessons. It wasn't just a case of, this is roughly what we'll do and get up on the stage. We had lessons. She sent us the music. We had to practice it at home. It was a nightmare.
Yeah. Put your hands up if you didn't practice it at home.
I did because I didn't want to look ridiculous on a stage at a sold-out theatre. That's the only reason. And as it turns out, I did anyway.
Oh, yeah. I'm from bitter experience. I knew that no matter how much I practiced, there was no way it was going to make any difference on the night. But we had to go to Melbourne for a weekend and get coached by Gordy's late mum. and Bev. She has a background in physical culture. Yeah, is that right?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Busy.
So-
yeah.
Yeah, so we got put through the fizzy motions. Like I dodged fizzy. My cousins did fizzy. And when I used to be on the board of the State Sports Centre, I used to go down and I'd see I couldn't figure out one day I turned up and there was all these young ladies there with parasilk tracksuits on and heels and makeup and hair. And I was like, what on earth is going on? And then I got in there and I'm like, it's fizzy. Okay, I get it now. I had
You sure it
throwbacks
wasn't
to my
Anne
cousins
Sargent
who were
leaving
fizzy.
training?
They should look much more put together than that, Catherine.
Hi,
So,
Annie.
yeah, we love Annie. So, so we got Bev Gordian put us through the absolute ringer on the weekend. And I just remember her face looking at me and probably you, Catherine, going, I've got nothing to work with here. This is not God. Whereas Gordy's so creative and she can sing and she can
And
dance.
Cheryl's coordinated. She picked it up in 2
Cheryl's, she was
seconds.
fine. Yeah. And anyway, then they made
So
us,
I contacted Gordy last week, and it was after the game, and I thought, I don't know how much time I need to give her to kind of heal after the semi-final, right? Because the Fever, it was a crushing disappointment for them and whatever. And I thought, I don't know whether this idea will cheer her up or whether it's just one too many things. So I sent her a note, how are you? And she's like, oh, I'm just about to watch the game again. And I said, you got any bandwidth to be involved in a little prank? She went, yes, what is it? She was right in, absolutely.
Brilliant.
Because the idea was we were going to teach it to the room. But then when we got there, we realised there's not enough space for this. There's probably not enough time in the program. So it's like, we'll just do it and hopefully everyone will get involved. But the idea was that Patrick would do it once and then Gordy and I would go, oh, yeah, I think I've got it. Let me just give it a go and then get out and do it and then go to you guys. Have you got it now? You've seen it twice and then make you try to do it. So it was a ritual humiliation amongst dear friends, which is, I think, part of the
best
contract of our relationship.
Yeah. Do you know what?
But she was right in for it, right up.
I don't think that we have enough insurance for Catherine and I to be dancing in a place where there's the general public. Like,
I did actually worry when I had to do the turny bit because I was on the stage. I'm like, this is going to end badly. I can feel it. I'm just going to turn off the end of the stage.
It was very fun. Look, it wasn't Taylor Swift's wedding, but it felt like it, to be honest. You know,
it was
the
great.
the next best thing.
Yeah, and I loved just chatting to all the dribblers and getting to know
me too.
people and just hearing like how people have found the podcast and how they've got involved in netball. And I must say, sometimes in my role as chair, things get a bit overwhelming because there's a lot to do, and I wonder why I'm doing it. Then I go to an event like we had on Friday night, and I'm like, this is why I'm doing it. Our dribblers are great.
Yeah, great.
Absolutely.
It was wonderful. Great start to the week. And can we just give a little vote of thanks also to Daryl Milton, Statsman Daryl, obviously does a lot for our Facebook group particularly. He helped us out on the night, was involved in a quiz. But we had a winner of our tipping comp, Leanne Hopkins, but we also had the Golden Turkey winner being Nikki Conway Buckley and Sharon, her wife. And they contacted me earlier in the day and said, hey, we're in town. Do you want any help? And then my mate's flight had been cancelled. And so she was my roadie. We were going to do this together. We were going to put together all the goodie bags. So they saved our bacon by making themselves available. They ran the door. Thank you so much. And as I said, Nikki was the self-appointed drinks provider for the three of us and for Gordy. And no one has ever done their job more diligently and enthusiastically than she has in that self-appointed role.
This is true. And she also helped the meat tray play catch up when he got there after his flight was delayed.
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
But I also
no,
noticed on Facebook yesterday and today, her little award-winning turkey has been making the rounds. Did you see
Yes.
Mr. Gobble?
Mr. Gobbles. So, yes, he was at the game last night. He toured around Melbourne. Yes, he's quite the celebrity.
Yeah, someone spotted him and put a photo of him on Facebook too. Did you see that?
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
That's funny. Where's Wally? But look, there was also netball on the weekend. So
That's
maybe we
right.
should take just a little break and then come back and talk about the netball. I don't know whether you guys have heard about this, but we should talk about it. It was the grand final.
Let's do it.
Okay, so the town has been painted pink Melbourne has been taken over. It is now the keys of the city are being handed to the fans from Adelaide because that was an extraordinary performance by the Adelaide Thunderbirds.
Has your son just walked in with a cup of tea for you?
Oh, nice. It's got
What is-
foam on it.
Is that a hot
He's
chocolate?
It's a hot chocolate with the world's biggest marshmallow in it.
Oh, Steve, bring one to
I have
Sydney
been-
for me.
Yeah,
Are
I
you
have
5?
shut up, maybe. on the
I
inside.
would have that in a second.
I have been away for 3 nights and
Oh,
I've
okay.
just got home and had enough time to say hello and have a little cuddle. But, sons miss
Oh,
their
that's
mummies.
Best. Jealous.
Well,
Anyway,
we're grateful that you have given us your time, and we should, crack on so you can get back to doing some
I'll be
family type
making
stuff.
slurpy noises like,
Before we get to the actual game, I want to know what everyone's day looks like, because after the event on Friday night, we all went our separate ways and then didn't see each other again.
well, we did go.
So-
to
We had a
dinner.
lovely dinner. We had a nice sedate dinner.
Yes, but I mean the next day. So, Liz, what did you do?
Yeah.
Well, can I just go back to dinner? It was a lovely sedate dinner, but after Nikki Conway Buckley had helped the meat tray play catch up, I did see Carolyn surreptitiously pour half a glass of her red wine into Matthew's glass. He didn't even
Oh,
notice. He just
really?
drank the lot, and I was like, he's going to snore.
Oh,
Anyway, so Saturday morning, do you know what? We actually had a really nice sleep in. Last year I had to get up and do media, but I did it on Friday. So on Friday morning, I got up at 4:45 Friday morning. And then, so I was happy that I got to have a little sleep in with the meat tray on Saturday morning. And then we went for a wander around Fitzroy where we were staying and had a nice breakfast. So that was a nice sedate way to start the day. But then I got to the lunch at 2. I had to do a sound check for my speech. So the big grand final lunch, there were 1,000 people in the room. So I know that there's still a
insane.
bit of debate about, why do we have the grand final in a place where it might not, like the winning team, the first team to win
Yep.
the majors semi-final should go through. And I get that, right? But I will say that the ability to be able to have a big lunch, to get in the diaries of corporates and politicians, because they're the people that you want coming to our games as well. So I sat next to the Victorian Premier at lunch and got to talk to her about all the great things that, netball does. And, there was a great panel. There was a couple of really good panels at that lunch. So you don't get to do all that if you're trying to scramble with 2 weeks. This is like the events team. This finishes, and actually as soon as the test matches finish, they're already thinking about the grand final lunch for next year and what it's going to look like. And you got to get into Polly's sort of diaries nice and early. But at the lunch, we got both coaches. So Di Honey and Tanya Obst came and spoke, which was great. We
Was
had
Tans late?
No, but it was towards the end of the lunch, and she was a bit like she was
Because
like,
they got
I
stuck
just
in
got here.
traffic.
Yeah, and so she said
Yeah.
that. So, and funny, and I don't know if it's because she was late or if she was but she was really nervous. Like normally she's such a relaxed, funny, happy, vibey sort of woman, but you could see on stage she was really nervous. And Di was the opposite. Di had almost gone like full dry, funny, not giving away too much. So they were real studying contrasts. That was great. We had a media panel.
It's interesting. You would expect it to be the other way around, right? Tanya Obst is no stranger to being a coach in a grand final. Interesting that Di, this is her first time, and she was sort of more relaxed in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, Di had been there before last year, I guess, but she was just really, but it was almost like she was so, I don't know if she was relaxed, but she was really, wasn't giving away too much. So it was, and they're pretty funny. They're great. And, like they get along really well. So, that there wasn't going to be any barbs between them or anything like that. So they were great. And then there was a media panel, which had Sue Gordian, our very own Gordy, the Dribbler's own Gordy, and Sarah Jones from Fox Footy and Georgia Radjic from SEN. They were fantastic. And Sarah was great. She talked about her little girls and she said, you could sell water with, using any of the netball players and my daughters would buy it. So if you're thinking about spending money on netball, do. So she was great. And then we had a past players panel. So it was Shay Bolton-Brown, Caitlin Platt-Thwaites and Erin Bell. So, and they were great again because, Ez is with the Thunderbirds. So she was able to give, a bit of that background and, Katie's sort of won premierships with the Vixens and has worked in commentary. So and has played in grand finals. And Shay was fantastic. She's just, you get a real sense of why the Mavs have done what they've done, because she's, she spoke, I just want more. I want more of this and I want more of that and I want more teams and I want more netball. And she was so enthusiastic and passionate. You could just see why she's been such a force to be reckoned with in her role at the Mavs. So that was
And
great.
she's moving on from that, isn't she?
Yes.
Yeah.
She just resigned. So I don't know. Do anyone know where she's going? Is that sort of,
No.
has she made any decisions yet? Right. So
That's a loss, though. What an amazing
yeah.
amount of energy she has brought to that. And look, not only on court, the Mavs this year have really, I think, forged a great identity for themselves as a club and, real personality in their social media. I talk about this every week. I think they've done an amazing job, but, she can take a real bow for a lot of that, can't she?
Yep. It's just amazing. So she was fantastic. So we had lots of good panels. Kelsey Brown was one of the MCs and she interviewed Plum. So anytime you get Plum being interviewed, it's always worth listening to. And I was sitting next to the Premier and the Premier's like, oh, she's just great. So you should get her in to rev up your parliamentary team. Anyway, we'll see if that happens.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, so, I can imagine. So, and then, by the time the lunch finishes and you go out and you talk to people and, I don't know, then it was just on to the game. So, and then after the game, again, you gas bag into people, and then I went and had a nice quiet glass of wine with a former teammate of ours, Catherine, and got to bed at 1 o'clock. It's a massive day. Your day would have been massive.
Mine was,
What time do you start?
So I had to be there at 3, but Gordy and I got up and had brekkie in the morning. We had a lovely brekkie with a mate of ours just in Richmond somewhere, and then just went back to my room and tried to get my head around notes and stats and all that sort of stuff, just as a final try and take it all in. Gordy and I went to the game, hair and makeup, then we had production meetings. But because we have an hour's pre-game on a grand final day, that's also an hour of rehearsals for those two segments. We did a thing outside and then we moved into John Cain and we did a thing inside. So it's a couple of hours of all the sort of the pre-game stuff and the rehearsals and all of that before you even, get on air. So it was a big day. We finished, we only just walked out of the stadium just before midnight. So it was big, but it flew. It absolutely flew by. Nuts. And then Swindell, what were you up to? Because by the look of the dancing I saw, there must have been some more ingesting of alcohol.
So I had a fairly sedate day. My friends finally arrived at about lunchtime. I went to the gym in the morning and then I went and caught up with Nikki and Sharon, who'd taken all the stuff home from the function on Friday night. They said to me, no, you go to dinner, we'll deal with this. Like, I don't know what I have done in a past life to deserve this much loveliness, amazing. But thank you. They are just such givers. So I caught up with them and got the stuff back and we had a coffee and sort of a few laughs about the night before. And then my friend arrived, we went out for lunch, we went shopping, just had a bit of a snooze and then wandered over. We didn't get over to John Cain Arena until about 5:30. I decided I wasn't going to go to the lunch. But it was great. Went into John Cain Arena and then immediately thought we should go to the bathroom now while there's no queue. Some genius, 56 years I've been on this planet, I have not seen this, but someone went, hey, this is an event where we're going to have mostly women. What if we took half of the men's toilets and redesignated them as women's toilets for the night so that actually the facilities meet the people who are at the event? Because, how many times have you stood in a long queue and then you see the blokes just walk straight up and you think, I could just go in there to the bathroom.
Yeah. Oh, and I quite often have.
Yeah, likewise. But, I just thought that's just such great common sense. That is a really great ad for the night that I was able to go in, go to the bathroom. And after that, everything got a bit hazy, I've got to say.
Let me help you out, though. At the end of the game, I was standing talking to someone in the VVIP area, and next minute, Carolyn's standing next to me, and I knew that you had been on the other side of the stadium behind the fence.
Yep.
And I'm like, how did you get here? You were like, I'm just seeing how far I can get before someone stops me.
Oh, my God. And she got right up to you, to the chair.
Not to me.
I got the whole way around the court.
Whole way around.
It was sort of, it's like, I knew that the security guard near us, so this was at the end of the game. We'd been talking to this lovely security guard the whole way through. She did a fantastic job of doing her job and enforcing it, but without making it really sort of unpleasant or dictatorial or whatever. But I just said, she's going to look that way. I'm going to step down and see how far around the court.
God.
So I got up to Liz. Liz is there talking to Elmarie, snapped a couple of photos of that and thought, no one's following me. And then I kept walking around. And then I'm right in the middle of the T-Birds thing and I saw Jane Altschwager and went up to her and said hello. And, you know, they're obviously very happy. And I said to her, I'm not supposed to be here. And she said, I know. And then she looks at me and I'm wearing a Vixens scarf. She said, what's this? And I said, well, I've got a pink shirt on and a Vixens scarf. So I'm supporting both teams. I'm just supporting good netball. And then I just thought, well, I'll pass on through here. And I walked the whole way around the court and just back up and sat in my seat.
No,
So I
No way. See, people our size can't be that still.
yeah.
Well, I think this is part of it. Like my mate said that she lost sight of me at one stage. Like,
Because you're in the land of the netball.
moving among, but I was in one of these open courtside boxes, and this was bad because it's like, here's a barcode. So in the price of the ticket was some food and drinks, and it's like, here's a barcode. Scan this when you want a drink, and they'll bring it to you. So I didn't have to get out of my seat. I didn't have to go and queue up anywhere because I just don't bother drinking that much during a game because it's like I'm here to watch the netball. But when there's a barcode and someone brings it up to you, and again, thank you, Nikki was doing the ordering for us, but like someone, and then you had to put your name on it. And so someone would come up and go, oh, I've got some Chardonnays for Queen Carolyn. It's like, look, this is not good for my already inflated ego at the moment.
Okay, now, so this is where I think Alex needs to drop in the vision that somebody took of you during the game because you were going hard out to some ABBA. I think it might have been at the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think you even had your eyes closed, getting right into it.
In my moment, Alex, I'll help you. I'll point you to that. But no, it was very fun. And then afterwards we picked up some dribblers outside the stadium. We got on a tram. We ended up at Young and Jackson's. Now, if you know Melbourne at all, you know this is of all the beautiful food and wine and wonderful places you could go, this is the skeeziest joint in the entire city. And we stayed there until they kicked us out. And then Lee and I came back and we were in the hotel room and went, we were going to have agadashi tofu for dinner tonight. I thought the game would be over. 10 o'clock, we'd go out for a nice little Japanese dinner. So at 1 o'clock, we pulled on some clothes over our pajamas and went out looking for some tofu. And we couldn't find it, but we did find some really nice meat on a stick. So I feel like I'm 22 again, 22, but with a budget of a 56-year-old. It's very dangerous.
Tofu,
so dangerous.
meat on a stick.
Yeah.
Quite the departure from the initial.
Protein, Catherine. You know, women of a certain age need to be very careful with their protein intake. We've got to make sure we're having enough. So
yeah.
But in between all of that was the game of netball.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Is anyone surprised?
No, and at the lunch, lots of people were asked to give their prediction, and a number of people chose Vixens like in overtime, and the only person who went close was Erin Bell. She said Thunderbirds by 8. And I reckon, and I was a bit like, I think it'll be a close game. All I want's a close game. But when you look back and you look at the form line, you're like, what on earth were we thinking that it was going to be a close game? Like,
isn't it?
Thunderbirds are, and the thing that I think the rest of the competition should be really worried about is the fact that this Thunderbirds team is not only unbelievable, they're young.
And they look like they want to stay together as a team, don't they?
Yeah.
Like this looks like whenever we can start signings that they'll be going, yeah, absolutely, pick me again. Thank you very much. I would love to sign up for another season of this. So
I agree. I would be nervous if I was Tanya, though, because people will want a lot of those players in there. But you're right, that they are happy. And I think the biggest thing with players moving is they're either not happy or they want more court time. But she has been so every game has been really balanced with the court time with all of those players. So they get court time. It's not necessarily a full 60 minutes, but every game they are on the court. So I think that's not something that they'll shouldn't need to worry about either.
And I think for the internationals too, moving to Adelaide, say compared with moving to Melbourne or Sydney, it's like Adelaide's a community that goes, well, great, you're now part of us. Like I think that it's an easier place to settle into if you don't know anyone. I imagine Perth is the same, but Perth is a bigger city again. So but Adelaide does have this sort of nice, I imagine, does Sunshine Coast have that same, or is it too close to Brisbane to have that? But it's
I
like
reckon
I just
Sunshine Coast would
would.
have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how's the
But,
fact
yeah.
that they broke 2 records in this grand final as well? The Thunderbirds. They start the season breaking records. They're breaking records still in the grand final. You're just like, what the hell?
So
that was
what were the
biggest
records that they
margin.
broke in the grand final?
Biggest margin in a grand final, in an SSN grand final of 21. It was 17.
21.
So they didn't just
Wow.
beat it, they smashed it.
Smashed
And
it.
they kept the Vixens to the lowest ever score in a grand final, which was 40. And it was 47. So I'm at 40 in a grand final of
Yeah.
SSN when there's a super shot.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, can you, in the era of the super shot, you don't very often see 40 in a game. So when, back in the olden days when we were playing, and it was my first year in the Diamonds, it was the year after, my first year in the Diamond squad was the year after that 91 World Cup. And, I was part of a conversation once, and Joyce Brown was saying that they knew that both teams were capable when they played against each other of scoring about 12 goals a quarter. And they knew that they had to just get 13 in one quarter, and that's exactly how it played out. Like, it was really close. That was like 43, 42. And so before the super shot in the olden days, like most finals, wherever you went, what were in the 40s, you very rarely saw anything different to that. Whereas now we're used to seeing scores in the 60s because they happen. So to have, in the era of the super shot, and there were a couple of super shots from the Vixens that was successful. So in this era, for the Thunderbirds defensive line to keep the Vixens to what they did is phenomenal. And I think what Thunderbirds did, which very few teams do this because it's a lot of hard work, is they just didn't allow that up middle channel to open up.
Oh,
And I reckon
unbelievable.
you could see, couldn't you, just the impact that Kate Heffernan had, just because she's so used to playing in that sort of Silver Ferns zone. But anytime Sophie Garvin came out, her or Tanya Wilson would back on her, and then what they're trying to get you to do then is to swing the ball to the sides, and that's when Shamira Sterling becomes so dangerous. So it's like the Thunderbirds have one of the best mid-quarters in the world, and without a doubt the best goalkeeper in the world. And they had Tilly Garrett, Latanya Wilson, just doing the job of like all the hard yards around the edges, and to watch them switch so seamlessly between that zone or box style of defense into one-on-one was unbelievable. Like, I've never seen a team do that like that.
It was crazy, wasn't it? Sophie Garvin had 4 from 4 in the first half as a goal shooter. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So incredible. And I mean, they were up though, the Vixens, in the first quarter. I thought, okay, this is actually the game plan. But as we mentioned in commentary, exhausting game plan. Like that is a really, really tough. That becomes a mental battle. You know physically what you got to do, but that is a mental battle to keep doing it for the whole game.
2 years ago in Adelaide, they did exactly that for the full game, and it was a really close match. Thunderbirds ran out the winners, but I remember in that game thinking they can't do this for the whole game, and they could. But on Saturday night, just for some reason, they couldn't quite execute that. And I thought what was interesting was that, we're all talking about Elmarie Vandenberg. I mean, she's amazing. When I was speaking to her after the game, this is the first time I've been up close to had a conversation with her, and I did have the thought, thank God I'm retired.
Yeah.
So, and just watching her, like, she just never looked like missing. She has the ultimate game face. It was amazing. But I thought the Vixens defensive line won enough ball. They did a good job.
But yeah, I mean, I thought they did in the first quarter, and then they started to get penalised, didn't they, out of the game?
Yeah, and that was frustration.
And they had to take Rudy Ellis off at one stage. She got a warning for something.
Yeah.
She got a couple of late challenges in that last
challenges,
quarter.
Yeah.
So question. So last year when it was announced that Shamira, so the Thunderbirds had won 2 in a row last year, and then Shamira's pregnant, and so she's out. And we all thought, well, that's it for their season. So they ended up in the finals, but they ended up sort of going out first in the finals. This year they've come back, they've got their full contingent again. Is there one player in the Thunderbirds that next year, if they weren't available through injury or pregnancy, like, I can't see that there's one player in there that would jeopardise them going back to back next year? Can you?
Oh, I think if you lost to Georgie Horges, you'd be in trouble.
Okay.
Big time.
Why do you say that?
That first quarter, Lauren Frew is not strong enough to keep that attack line going if she's in goal attack. we called for that change to come a bit earlier. Thought it might have, but if you don't have Georgie in there, you're not getting the ball down the court. She does
she
an
did a lot of work.
enormous amount of work.
Yeah.
And they blew it open when they put her in goal attack.
Interesting. So you think then like they would be more at risk if they lost Georgie than if they were to lose, say, El Murray or Shamira next year?
No, I think Shamira is a different story because that's a combination of defence that's a stranglehold on everyone. I think you'd end up in a similar position. But I just think Georgie is as influential as Shamira is. Completely different game, though. It's hard to weigh up. It's chalk and cheese in terms of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I think that attack line would fall apart without Georgie Horbers.
Yeah. I also think a big loss for them would be Latanya. So she was phenomenal. And we were talking around us like, who's your MVP? And people on both sides were like, oh, it's the bookends, right? It's Shamira or it's El Murray. And I'm like, nah, Latanya has been amazing. She was so disruptive at wing defence. So all the wing defenders of the world, this one's for you. And the ability to swing in between was amazing. And I reckon she just gives them that menace up the back. Like Shamira is going to do beautiful things and take great balls. But I think the work that Latanya does gives Shamira the time and space to do that. So yeah, they've got Tilly, and I thought that was one of the best games I've seen her play on Saturday night. After she sat out most of that semi-final, I reckon she bounced back and did a great job. And from where I was sitting, got a real appreciation for how long her reach is. And so she was like playing havoc over the shot. And
keeping in mind too, she did hurt her ankle because she missed the two training sessions in the lead up.
Yep. So there was some doubt about whether she'd actually play, and Tanya Obst got asked about that at the captain's media call on Friday, and then we were talking about it Friday night. So I thought she was outstanding. So they've got lots of options in that defensive line, but I reckon Latanya just gives them something a bit magical there.
And I think that's, Liz, I'd be interested in your view on this. I reckon that happened as a result of Latanya having the space last year without Shamira there, that it's like she really stepped up last year, I thought. Yeah. And so I guess her game developed last year as a result of being the point person for them at the defence end in Shamira's absence. And maybe if they'd had Shamira last year, they wouldn't have a Latanya Wilson of this calibre this year.
I think that's actually a really interesting point, Carolyn. Look at you going along with your bloody netball.
Do you know
analysis.
I was interviewed by Georgia on SEN after the game?
After the game? Oh my God.
Really?
Full as a state school.
Yep. Sorry?
Full as a state school.
Full as a state school. I had the headphones on. I've got Georgia there, and it's like, what's your analysis? Well, my analysis is it's a really good time coming to a Suncorp Super Netball Grand Final. But yes, that was a lot of fun. That was a bit of a moment for me. A bit of I thought I can't wait to tell Catherine this one.
Love it. I can't wait to hear the interview.
Well, but your analysis is spot on, right? I think you're right. I think the confidence that Latanya got from being the person last year in that Thunderbirds defensive line, you're right. She's just taken that and run with it this year. I thought she was outstanding. I loved watching her on Saturday night. And then when she got the player of the match, did you see how emotional she was? It was beautiful.
No,
she walked up to get her
medal.
medal.
I was a bit emotional myself, so no.
No, you were tired and emotional. Very different. But yeah, she walked up to get a medal and she was crying. I thought, wow, she's so, and I just love like the joy that she brings to the game as well. So it's what we're about here on No Dribble. So I love to see that she's doing it as well.
But kudos too to Kate Maloney. God, she's so classy.
Didn't she speak beautifully?
Oh, so last year when she accepts on behalf of the team because they've won and they're so excited, I thought this is a great speech. And this year I just thought, what a remarkable choice of words in seconds after this huge disappointment. And they've had a really rough time over the last couple of, few rounds and things, and the highs and the lows. And I thought she was just remarkable, such a role model.
Yeah, amazing. And funny, where I was standing, because I was right underneath the big screen and the speakers, I couldn't hear her. So when I got home today, I sat and listened to her speech because someone had said to me how well she spoke. And I was just struck, right? She's so honest and she's so raw. She's not banging on an act. She's not pretending, but she's so gracious. And I just think, like, lots of. I was thinking that everyone says that Joe Weston will be the Prime Minister, but I reckon Kate could give her a run for her money. She's such a great orator, and not only did she just played, she just ran centre against Kate Heffernan for 60 minutes, right?
Yeah,
I would be on life support. Kate Maloney gets up and gives a speech for all time. That is phenomenal.
And apologises for their performance.
Oh, God,
crazy,
amazing! Yeah, just amazing.
Yeah.
So and they were shell shocked. You could see it on their faces afterwards. I've been in that situation, being flogged in a grand final. You just wish the floor would open up and swallow you and take you away.
Yeah.
So it's almost Sunday evening when we're recording. Tomorrow morning, Diamonds go into camp. A number of those Diamonds have just had a crushing disappointment. What do you do if you're Stacey Marinkovic? What do you say about this tomorrow?
Give them chocolate.
Yeah, I don't reckon she needs to say anything, does she? No. I would literally be just putting the focus elsewhere, because they will do that. They'll be in their own heads about it, and you want them to move on and think about something else that's positive. And I think it'll be really good
you need
for them
to get to free that bird, don't you?
Yeah,
you need them to just go, all right, that's the past, and
that's gone.
Games is the future.
Well, there's 4 of them that were in the Vixens, but there's 2 of them that are in the Thunderbirds who are absolutely coming in on a high, right? And then there's a number of players who've just been training and not playing in finals. So I don't think it's a one size fits all. I think, and when you come into camp after a grand final, whether you've won or lost, you do sort of, if you've won, you don't want to rub it in, and if you've lost, you don't want to be sort of too cranky about it. So, and these players they're professional. They've done it all before. It's a remarkable thing about our sport that you can play, in the professional league in the grand final 1 minute, and then next minute you're off to, represent your country together. So I think they'll be so focused on the Commonwealth Games. I don't think it'll be an issue.
No, they'll be looking forward to it. But what we did say in commentary last night was that, can you imagine all the other teams, international teams, sitting down and watching the blueprint of that Thunderbirds defence that shut down basically an Aussie Diamonds attack line?
Yeah, but good luck replicating that if you're Nathan, not Shimmy or
I
Tanya
know,
or Matilda.
Right? I know. Oh, yeah, I see what they're doing there. I've absolutely no chance of doing it. Yeah.
I know how they did that. I just don't know if I can. So, yeah, you're right. But I think and that takes an extraordinary amount of cohesion as well. So,
yeah.
And look, the Diamonds environment will be very different. And I think, the players will rise to it. But, yeah. It's an interesting psychological question, isn't it? How do you pick players up like that? But the players are in
They've
that.
got one day to celebrate and commiserate whatever. The Vixens have got their BNF, they call it tonight. The Sherelle McMahon medal is tonight, Sunday night. So after the big game last night, they're backing up for that and then getting on a plane.
There's a Mavs dinner tonight, I think, too.
Oh,
Mavs dinner tonight. Yep.
Yeah, wow, it's all
think
happening.
Thunderbirds had theirs last week, didn't they? The Swifts had theirs last week. Like a number of the Lightning had theirs last week.
I haven't seen Thunderbirds results. Did they have them? Players of the match, player of the year and stuff like that?
Okay, I don't know where I'm. Yeah, now that you asked me that, I'm doubting
Just make
myself.
it up, man.
Yeah, just go with it. Just go confident.
Anyway, have a good night tonight, ladies, whatever you do. But look, we should have a short break. We are, we'll come back in a moment. Okay, well, I have learnt a few things over the past 24 hours that I think I should share for future generations going to netball grand finals. So, one, have a seat where I sat, which is you can just buy those tickets. You got to be quick. But my mate Lee, every time someone from the media went past, she would call their media number out and say, "We're photogenic." 9 times out of 10, they turned around and asked for a photo. So, maybe sometimes in life, if you want a bit of attention, all you have to do is just ask for it. So,
photogenic.
Yeah, that's what she said. We're photogenic. We did have our pink
I just
hats
had
on.
always said photogenic. That just sounded funny. Photogenic?
Well, maybe
That's
she's a genie. Maybe she's magic and she takes photos.
Potato, although no one says potato, right? No one said potato.
So I'm confused.
Photogenic.
I don't understand. What were you trying to get media people to take photos of you?
Yeah.
Great.
Apparently that's what she wanted. I
Are you
don't
going to be on
know.
the side of a bus tomorrow?
No, I think these are all Netball Australia people. So,
Mm.
look out in the social media because it's like obviously what Netball Australia wants is a couple of middle-aged white woman influencers, and apparently
Yeah.
that's now us, and all you have to do is ask for it. So,
Good to know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
gotta-
one day you might have to go to a netball grand final and just play ball like the ordinary punters, like the rest of us do. So these life tips could come in handy one day, if not for you, then for the dribblers.
Yeah. Do you know what, though? I was thinking when I was sitting at the lunch the other day before the grand final, I can't wait till the day that I'm just a punter here and I can just sit up my back and be obnoxious.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Me
then
too.
eat
That would be
donuts.
nice.
Yeah.
eat
Oh my
donuts, go to
God.
the game.
I had a glass of champagne and a donut for dinner last night.
There we go.
So
What are you
is
going to
it
have
no-
for dinner tonight?
Is there
I
no
felt
dribble recommends?
No, because I felt as sick as a dog as soon as I'd inhaled both of them. Just a big deep breath and a glass of water for dinner tonight.
That's
No,
good
we've
for
got
you.
nothing. We've got literally nothing in the house. We're going away tomorrow for nearly 2 weeks. So I have emptied everything out. There is nothing to eat here.
So are you taking are you taking some leave now?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you about that on Friday, maybe.
Okay,
Oh,
good. I look
nice.
forward to
Yeah.
hearing that because
Yeah.
I've foolishly taken my week's leave going to Palm Cove last week and I'm absolutely exhausted and I have to go back to work this week. But anyway, we'll talk about that on Friday. But it's been a great week. It's been a great weekend.
Been a great weekend. As you said, it's been a fucking brilliant weekend.
Let's do it again next year.
Absolutely. And thanks, dribblers. Man, you've really wrapped your arms around us. Thank you very much. We've absolutely loved it. So, but we'll be back on Friday. So have a good couple of days. I'm Carolyn Swindell.
I'm Cat Cox.
I'm Liz Ellis. Bye.
Bye.